Hello guys, welcome back. Prince here. This is another and the last video actually of the weapon overviews, and today we're going to be covering the ranged weapons. So light bowgun, heavy bowgun I believe is around the start here, and then bow is one of the last. Yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna be starting with light bowgun. Traditionally, there's not much to say. It is what you expect from the idea of the weapon. So it is, for anyone that's new to Monster Hunter, these are ranged weapons. Yep, they're what it is. But minor detail, the light bowgun is more mobile than the heavy bowgun. It's a little lighter than the heavy bowgun and a little faster than the heavy bowgun. This has always been the case traditionally. Let's see what is all about in this game. Let me up the volume, sorry. So, so the reason I made all of three of the ranged weapons in one video is because I am not a master whatsoever. So there are some things that I'm probably going to be missing in these overviews. But this being said, we know some facts about Gamescom that have cleared our minds a little bit. And the reason they have been revealing the heavy bowgun before the light bowgun was to make it more clear to the new players watching. Why? Because in this new game, as I'm gonna be covering later, the heavy bowgun has rapid fire, which is you shoot one bullet, but instead of one bullet, they come out three bullets. Okay, but you don't waste three bullets; you shoot just one. Okay. This was traditionally a mechanic reserved for the light bowgun, and the heavy bowgun did not have this. Now it has this, and the light bowgun also keeps this mechanic, but we're gonna be seeing different stuff. This is the rapid fire that I'm talking about. Shows that you can double dash basically. So, what is this rapid fire energy? So essentially, from my understanding from the Gamescom and from people that have been talking about this weapon, you now have this rapid fire energy that will turn every damn bullet type, every ammo type will be on rapid fire when you're using this mode. And you can shoot while moving as well. And then the last one in your magazine is going to be this reload into pa 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 pa, okay? This more powerful shot. Then once you completely used up your gauge of rapid fire energy, you can regenerate when you successfully land your other hits. Now what he's showing is that you still utilizing your rapid fire and you're getting this gauge back. Now, this was confusing and it was not clear enough in the overview before the Gamescom because, well, first off, they don't tell you this. Second, they show the rapid fire energy, but then they show that the gun still rapid fires. So we were like, what? uh, but essentially, from my understanding, now he is utilizing the main gun, okay, the main ammo that is on rapid fire. So imagine you build a specific light bowgun. We are making Rathian light bowgun. Now, I'm not exactly sure what traditionally has been the rapid fire of a Rathian light bowgun, but let's suppose that that Rathian light bowgun will have, I don't know, poison level one rapid fire. So it means that every time you use a poison level one, you're gonna be getting 3 hits or 2 hits. It depends on how strong the ammo is. But essentially, you get your rapid fire. Okay. Now, the, this gun with that special bow that we just watched before will turn everything into a rapid fire. But the main ammo that you have on rapid fire is going to be that poison. Okay. And on top of this, the gun will have infinite ammo on the main types. So let's assume a normal level 2. Um, I don't know, piercing ammo level 1, and in this case, poison because it's going to be your rapid fire, right? Poison level 1. So these three, let's assume, these three will be your main ammo types, and you're going to be having infinite ammo, okay? So you shoot, okay, these ammo types, and once you completely, it's like a gauge type of mechanic, okay? So once you completely finish your main ammo types, you're gonna have to let them basically finish their cooldown so you can use them again. In the meanwhile, you are gonna be using the craftable ammo types that you have available. So each bowgun, the light bowgun and the heavy bowgun, are gonna be having some ammo that is gonna be infinite with a cooldown, and basically like a Monster Hunter now, from my understanding. And then you can craft the secondary ammo types. Uh, and this, for some of you, might seem like a buff for some older players, but it actually isn't, in my opinion. It is to nerf essentially the piercing ammo spam, because people were just spamming piercing, then you quickly craft them when you finish them, and you keep spamming. I think it's for differentiate the ammo variety of the weapons and force the players to use something different. I know it's just gonna be almost 90%. There's gonna be a light bowgun or a heavy bowgun that has craftable piercing, and it doesn't have that big of a how do you say that? I forgot the name of it, but basically it's gonna be optimal to use them, and you're gonna be crafting them, and it's not gonna fix it. But unless they made something, unless they made the piercing always a main type, you're not gonna be doing that. And you might even think, wait, what if my what if my main type of piercing is level 1, let's suppose? Can I not craft the level 2 or level 3? They're not. They're probably not going to be available. If, for my understanding, for what I heard, if you have one ammo type available, like for example, piercing level 2, okay, that weapon will not have level 1 or level 3. This is what I heard. I could be wrong, but essentially this is how it works. And the light bowgun, as you saw, has a lot of more mobility options, but you also have special ammo. This thing that he plants here is a special ammo that also has a cooldown. This also will have a cooldown. And basically you plant a mine on the ground, and every time the monster hits the mine, or you hit the mine, it will explode, dealing damage, AoE. It will do pretty big damage, and will stay on the ground and explode maybe 2 or 3 times. Okay, you see exactly what I said. And also, if your weapon actually allows it, you can place two in the same spot. So this is another type of special ammo, I believe. And this looked like the focus strike, to be honest. So this is probably going to be the ammunition for focus strikes. That was very good. This is the mount finisher. And this is just a recap of the things that we already saw. So this was the light bowgun. Let's take a look at the heavy bowgun instead. You're gonna notice how slower it is, but it hits better. Also, traditionally, there's a distance, a specific set distance you want to be utilizing your ranged weapons. You can't just go 80 meters from the monster and attack and expect the light bowgun to deal the same damage. The light bowgun is more suited for close combat. Even though it's ranged, it is a little closer. The bow is more close to medium, I believe, and the heavy bowgun is further away. It's much further away. This is how it works in wilds. Usually they switch up a little bit the distance of this optimal damage between the games. I heard in wilds it's like this. So this is the heavy bowgun rapid fire, and as you can see, it's much slower. This is a special mode. Instead of having the rapid fire energy, you have the ignition mode, and you're gonna be becoming Rambo when you use this mode. These three things will be the focus strike stuff, I believe, just like the light bowgun, and the energy obviously regenerates when you land hits. You have an auto guard. Traditionally, you can just mount a little shield on your weapon and you're gonna auto guard. But now you can also manually guard. Why? Because this weapon, just like any shield weapon, can trigger the power clash with the monsters when you do guard attacks. Focus mode, target the wounds of the monster. You shoot one of these bullets, I believe. There you go. Boom! It's like a big sticky. This, I don't even know what it is. It's like a counter of some kind, or an offset, I believe. No, this is an offset attack. If you do it at the right timing, the monster falls off. It gets yeeted. It looks very cool. It looks like it does a lot of damage as well. And in this clip, I believe after the offset, it just shows a different type of ammunition. It kind of looks like a little worm stick. Teet, 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 boom, explodes. And there's the power flash. Let's look at it. Offset. Boom. That was cool. That was cool. And now let's take a look at bow. Bow. As I said, bow. It's like intermediate in the distance. At least this is what they said in from having played the demo. And the bow has, instead of having bullets and ammo types, it has coating types. So traditionally you have infinite arrows, and you've always needed the coatings. You need to mate them and then coat the arrows in them to make them more powerful. Each bow will have like different coating available to you, and some of them are even like status coatings, some of them are power, some of them are slashing coatings so you can cut the tails and whatnot. However, this time around, even though lore-wise it doesn't make sense to have infinite ammo, like I said before, yes, it's a thing in bows as well. You have, if your bow has power files, slice files, and I don't know, KO files, those will have infinite, that will be infinite. You put them on, you use them, and then you wait for the cooldown to recover, and then you can use them again. So, yes, it will nerf the bow. Why? Because you can't have infinite power files all the time active, right? You're gonna be using them, and then you have to wait and use another file until you actually have them again. Probably there's gonna be skills in the armor sets that like make the cooldown shorter or whatnot. But yeah, this is the idea of it, right? Sick. So essentially, as I said, mid-range weapon, use a variety of arrow-based attacks. You have your normal combos. These are normal combos. See, it shows here +8. It says you equip them, use them, change your arrows to increase their damage. Charge, sorry. So yes, you can charge your arrows. It changes the damage, but also changes the properties of the arrows because you don't traditionally you just don't shoot one single arrow. You have the piercing arrow. You have the wide arrows. You have the vertical ones. So there's different types of arrows, and charging the levels of your arrow will also change which type you're using, and it changes depending on on the bow that you're using. I know it sounds very weird, sounds very difficult to comprehend, but believe me, it's not. When you use the weapon, you understand really quickly. Here, what he's showing is that he's charging in between arrows that he shoots, and then he can do a perfect dodge, just like the dual blades. Showing the mobility of it. That jumping attack is new, good because you can do mount damage. Then this is one of the biggest introduction, the tracer. So you shoot the monster, and that tracer will attract every other arrow that you're gonna be shooting, making it easier to hit. For example, you hit the monster in the head because it's the weak spot with the tracer, and then for a couple of other arrows, they're gonna be homing into that tracer, and it's gonna make it hitting the head easier. Obviously, it's not infinite. At some point, it's gonna explode. Let's watch a clip. You see? And now it's gonna do a Dragon Piercer. Boom! Dragon Piercer is like a finishing move of the bow. It's a piercing type of arrow but that has a lot of charge channeling, so it's very high risk, but it's high reward. It's a Focus Strike. It's one of the longer ones. Before doing the Focus Strike, it does this. This was from Monster Hunter World. It was introduced there, and then it got ported to Rise. But in Rise, it was just a buff. It released a gas that would buff your allies. This one instead, in World in World was KO damage. This one is just damage. They said, okay, let's do just damage. Boom. This is insane damage, guys. So that attack here, it is a sneak attack. That's how I call them. They called it epic backshot. It's pretty epic on the bow. Perfect dodge. And this one we don't know. Personally, I don't know what it is, but it's cool. So yeah, this was the bow. Pretty sick. If you ask me, the bow overview was one of the best. It's very cool looking. And yeah, there's nothing else to say about the bow, honestly. You have your coatings, you swap between them, use them, and you repeat. Obviously, the bow in Wild seems to have a much wider moveset compared to the older games. But this is what it is. It's very cool. And unfortunately, we don't have a 15 weapon. I wanted not the Tonfus. I wanted a rework of the Tonfus in a form of gauntlets. I always thought that it would have been cool to have a weapon very similar to how the dual blades functions, but instead of being super fast, super swift, and left and right and whatever, instead of making that, you will make a but well essentially slower, a little bit harder hitting. You have blunt damage instead because they're big gauntlets. So you punch the monster in the face, and maybe a steam mechanic. This is how I thought about it like long ago when I had nothing to do. Uh, that essentially the steam mechanic will empower the gauntlets uh, when you fill up the gauge. Just like the dual blades, right? You fill up the gauge, then instead of just using it to do some semi-demon mode stuff, you actually use it to do some super moves that basically varies between lunge. How do I say that? Um, in my head, one of them would be like a super kind of dash, like a blast dash, but not as long, not not as long as the blast dash. But essentially, you propel yourself forward with the steam of the gauntlets, unleashing one punch. Um, sorry, and one of them could actually be a jumping attack because the steam could propel you in the air, and then do maybe a kind of a finisher of the sky. Um, and one of them would stay in place, but it would do more damage. And depending on which type of steam mechanical system you have in your weapon, which will vary between weapons, but depending on which type you have, that will be like the normal steam one, the elemental steam, and whatnot, that will change how these super moves work. For example, I thought about it. Inst- one weapon could have like instead of just the steam, the normal one, it could simply have a mechanic that once you're charged, you can do these super moves with cutting damage. Essentially, for example, I thought about it. What if you make a Nargacuga weapon that's some gauntlets? So you would have that once you're in that specific you filled up your gauge, you want to use the super moves, you unleash these clawing attacks that have insane cutting damage. So you have an occasion to cut tails when you have this active, but in case you already cut the tail, you have like a DPS loss in a sense compared to other type of steam and and what else? Yeah, and you need to hit different parts of the monster compared to just hitting the head, because it would do like more damage or something. I thought about this was back when Monster Hunter Wilds was not even revealed, not even teased, and I thought about one of them having piercing damage instead. It was an idea of mine to create basically, well, you know how in Iceburn they got like the tenderizing. In my head, it was exactly like in Wilds. Okay, basically, with the piercing weapons, you could create the tenderize, you could create the wound like in Wild, but only the piercing weapons could do that. This was my idea back then. But in fact, when I saw the wounds, I was like, "What? This is sick." But obviously, I prefer my idea because it would make the lance, gun lance, bow a little bit more unique in their in the weapon in the whole weapon set. Um, so yeah, you will make the wounds. Let's call it wounds. And with these gauntlets, with this steam mechanic, you could have, for example, let's say you made a monoblast gauntlets, you would have the horns popping off of the mechanism when you do the super moves, and those would deal pretty big piercing damage, and that would create the wound, and therefore you would deal more damage in that part, etc., etc. Now, this was just like some cool idea. I really wish they would make a gauntlet weapon that looks like it because it would be so sick. Like imagine just punching monster in the face. That's sick. But besides, this was the end of the video. I even I even went a little bit longer than expected. Thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna be seeing each other probably by the end of the month. Because if I remember correctly, 29 of September should be the date for Tokyo Game Show. I've heard Rurikan doesn't exactly expect a release date for Tokyo Game Show because he says, wait, why would you do a release date in an event that is exclusive to Japan when Monster Hunter now is a worldwide phenomenon? Okay. And I get why he thinks that way, but at the same time, I don't think that way myself because even though Tokyo Game Show is exclusive to Japan, who exactly cares? I mean, it's not like the PS1 to PS2 era, right? Um, People are aware of what's going on. A lot of people, even you guys that watch this video, probably already know about the Tokyo Game Show 1 month before. We were all waiting for that, and we're all gonna be watching that. So, especially Monster Hunter fans, they're watching that shit. They wanna know what's new. So I'm expecting a trailer. I don't know if it's the release date, but considering where we are, it could be. It could be because if it's not now the release date and the announcement of the playable demo, then when? They they have to release Monster Hunter Wilds by before the before the end of the fiscal year. You know, they have to do that, and therefore, I think it could be. But if it's so, if this is the case, it's weird because they haven't announced the flagship as well. So what? Are they really gonna do a trailer where they show the flagship, announce the release date, and perhaps possibly the demo? Or maybe the demo could skip a little bit. Maybe the demo, they still have to work on it to polish it a little bit to make it public. But they could be announcing the release date and the flagship in the next trailer, maybe alongside some a little bit more footage of the Scarlet Forest and maybe showing off a few new monsters like Kongalala. They teased it with the dual blades overview armor set, so Kongalala and maybe another monster. I would be happy with Kongalala and the flagship, honestly. I don't mind. Maybe we could be Kongalala, then the Apex, of the Scarlet Forest, and then the flagship. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'm hyped. I want to know more, so we're gonna be seeing each other by the end of the month. Whether or not it's gonna be a trailer, I'm gonna be there. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Have a nice day.